My Uber driver locked the doors and said, "I'm not taking you anywhere until you tell me who you're running from." I almost laughed. I was soaking wet from the rain, shaking so hard my teeth were clicking together, and this man was staring at me through the rearview mirror like he already knew the answer. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said. "I just need to get to the airport." He didn't move, didn't put the car in drive, just kept watching me. "I've been driving 12 years, he said quietly. "You're not someone going to catch a flight. No luggage tags, no carry-on bag from the terminal. You flagged the ride 2 blocks away and then ran 3 blocks to get in. You looked back 4 times before you closed the door." I stared at him. "So I'll ask again. Who are you running from?" His name on the app was Desmond. He was maybe 60, broad-shouldered, with reading glasses pushed up on his forehead. He looked like someone's grandfather. He also looked like someone who was not going to budge. The back of my throat burned. I'd been holding it together for 6 hours. 6 hours since I found the folder. "My husband," I finally said. Desmond nodded slowly, like he'd expected that answer. "Is he going to hurt you?" He already did. I pulled up my sleeve without thinking. 3 weeks of fading yellow-green bruising, the kind that looks almost healed but isn't. Desmond looked at it for a long moment. Then he faced forward and put the car in drive. "Okay," he said. "Airport. Tell me the rest." I don't know why I did. Maybe because he was a stranger. Maybe because I hadn't slept properly in 2 months and my defenses were completely gone. Maybe because he asked like he actually wanted to know. I told him about Jake. How it started 2 years into the marriage. Small things at first. A grab that was too hard. An apology that came too fast. How I convinced myself it wasn't what it was for 2 more years. Because he never left marks where anyone could see them. Because he was charming and coached Little League, and everyone adored him. I told Desmond about the folder I found that morning, tucked inside a fireproof box under the bathroom sink. Bank accounts I didn't know existed. A lease across town in my name. Forged on documents I'd never signed. Legal paperwork showing he'd been transferring assets for months. Jake wasn't planning to leave. He was planning to make it look like I had. Clean the accounts, disappear, and leave me holding the evidence. So I grabbed my passport, 1 bag, and my sister's spare credit card that I'd kept in my coat pocket for 8 months because some part of me always knew I might need it. I left while he was at work. My sister booked me a flight to Phoenix. "How do you know you were going?" Desmond asked. "He has an alert on the security system. It texts him when the front door opens during work hours. He called me the second I stepped outside." I felt my stomach drop again. He said if I got on that plane, he had people who would handle things. Desmond was quiet for a moment. "People," he repeated. "He said things like that before. I used to think it was just talk." I pressed my hands flat against my thighs to stop them from shaking. "I don't think that anymore." "You called the police?" "He is the police." I laughed, and it came out hollow. 18 years detective grade. He knows every officer in this city. I filed a report 2 years ago, after the first time it was bad enough for urgent care. It disappeared. Desmond didn't say anything after that for almost a full minute. Then, my daughter went through something similar. Her husband was a county prosecutor. He paused. "She got out." "How?" "She documented everything, and got it to a domestic violence organization 2 counties over. People who had no connection to her husband's network. They found her a lawyer, genuinely outside his reach. It took 8 months, but she got out clean. He lost his job, his license." He glanced at me in the mirror. "You still have that folder?" I patted my bag, photographed and emailed to my sister before I left the house. "Good," he nodded once. That was smart. We were getting close to the terminal. The rain had stopped and the airport lights were coming up ahead. I could see the departure signs through the windshield. Desmond pulled up to the curb and shifted into park. He reached into the center console, pulled out a business card, and handed it back to me without turning around. It wasn't his. It was a printed card for a non-profit organization, a domestic violence legal fund that specialized in cases involving law enforcement families, a phone number, and a website. "My daughter runs their intake line now," he said. "Call them from Phoenix, tonight if you can." I held the card with both hands. "Why did you lock the doors?" I asked. He finally turned around and looked at me directly for the first time. "Because you were running scared, and scared people make bad decisions. I needed to make sure you had somewhere safe to run to before I let you go." I got out of the car. I didn't cry until I was through security. I called the number on the card from the gate. Jake was arrested 4 months later. Not for what he did to me, but for the forged financial documents and the asset transfers. The domestic abuse case is still ongoing and it's hard, and some days I'm still afraid, but I got on the plane.